Are you trying to figure out how to get along with your coworkers? I'm going to share some evidence-based strategies that will work in improving the relationships between you and your teammates. First, it turns out we like people who like us. And unfortunately, when you're trying to get along with your coworkers, I find I watch people and I watch them doing things trying to be liked, like trying to do nice things and be helpful. And well, the interesting thing is that is not going to work as effectively as investing your energy in showing everybody else that you like them. Let's just hit that one again. So instead of trying to be liked by others, invest in showing that you like them. So what does that mean? Well, pay attention. Just notice what's going on with them. So often we signal that we don't care about a person by just being oblivious to what's going on. So if you want to get along with your coworkers, notice what they're doing. Remember things. If they told you on Monday that Thursday is going to be a rough day, on Thursday morning, just acknowledge it. Like, I know it's going to be a rough day for you, or I brought you a donut, or whatever else. Be interested in them, ask questions, be curious, and spend time thinking about and talking about building on their ideas. So, show that you like them. That's the first tip to get along with your coworkers. Here's another interesting thing about humans: we don't know what we like what we know. Familiarity, the exposure effect, how much we are with someone. We like people more who we've been with more, who are more predictable to us. And so you want to find as many opportunities as possible to spend time together. So that's go into the office, have lunch together, go into the meeting room 5 minutes early, whether it's a physical meeting room or a Zoom call, so that you have that time for chatter. Increase your exposure to your colleagues, and that's going to make it easier for you to all get along. In that time when you're together, find common ground. Find things that you share, because we know that as humans, we like people where we can create that connection, where we have something in common. So we don't know what we like what we know, and we want to use that to share as much common ground and time together as possible. Okay, here's another contrary thing. When we were trying to get along, we're trying to impress our teammates, we're trying to get them to like us. Again, I already said getting them to like us is the wrong strategy, but it is our default strategy. Well, in that situation, we tell ourselves that, oh, well, I have to be really good at what I do, and I have to show them how awesome it is that I'm their teammate and all those things. Oh, again, I know it's your default. I know it's what your brain is telling you to do, but it's all wrong. And if you want to get along better, you want to ask other people for help. You want to ask them for advice. Again, this goes back to the first one, which is asking for help and advice says, hey, I value you. I like you. And they're more likely to reciprocate in that case. So ask for help, ask for situations. I would love to know how you would think about this. You've been in this situation before. Can you share your thought process with me? When we help somebody else, it's really interesting. We actually feel more positively about them. There's probably a cognitive dissonance effect there, which is that if I help them, I must like them. But it's also just a really valuable, positive thing to do. So ask for help. It's a really great strategy. Next, be constructive. It is so fascinating how much of the conversation I overhear among colleagues is so negative. So many Debbie and Donnie Downers, like, everywhere. And that's not going to help you get along with people. In the short term, it may feel amazing to gossip with someone and you may feel you have a connection, but there's not the basis of a really healthy relationship there. So if you're trying to get along with your coworkers, make sure you are at least constructive. So it's okay to be negative about things. I saw so many articles online. They were like, always be positive. Wow, thanks. Yeah, there's no such thing as always be positive. And that's toxic positivity. And we don't want to go there. But if you can hold yourself to a bar to say, I don't always have to be positive, but I do have to be constructive. So it's okay to say, I'm worried about that. But here's what I could do. Or, balanced at least, right? So making sure that you are constructive is a really important way to get along with your coworkers, whether that's you sharing something that you're worried about and being constructive and taking accountability, or if they're gossiping or venting to you, coming at it, not just piling on, but helping them be constructive about what else they might do. The last one that I think is really important is, again, don't think that to get along well, you can never have uncomfortable conversations, you can never have conflict. No, that's just backward. And again, I've seen advice like that on the interwebs. It's not good advice. But I do want you to end conversations well. So you might have lost your cool. You might have disagreed with them really assertively. They might have given you feedback that you were, taken aback by. But try and end the conversation well, which is usually with some kind of pulling out a moral of the story or thanking them, like, wow, I did not enjoy hearing that, I will admit, but I'm really grateful that you shared it with me, those sorts of things. So don't make the mistake of thinking you can never have uncomfortable conversations or conflict, or even conversations you might call bad conversations, but do try and end things well. That's really important. So if you want to get along, it's a little bit of controversial advice. Stop focusing on being liked and start focusing on showing you like others by paying attention to them, building on their ideas, being curious. Two, instead of thinking that we know what we like, and going off your first impressions, realize that we like what we know. So ignore the first impressions, keep building experiences, shared language, inside jokes. Those things will help you build a better relationship. Instead of thinking you have to be perfect and people will like you if you're super smart and competent, realize that when you ask for help, that signals that you value them, that you aren't perfect. Those sorts of things build and strengthen a relationship. Don't think you always have to be positive. That's toxic, but instead think about how could I at least be constructive, that I take ownership of the things. If I'm sharing something negative or upsetting or worrisome, I'm showing that I own it, I'm on it, and that if they're sharing something negative with me, I'm trying to engage with them in a way that doesn't allow them to kind of go down a negative, vicious cycle, but I contribute in a way that's constructive. And then not to buy into this really false narrative that we can never have uncomfortable, bad conversations, we can never have conflict, but to think about, how do I end all of those things well? All of those things are going to help you build a real solid relationship, and ignore all that internet advice about always being positive, or doing the, like, I'm going to mimic your body language. There's a lot of crap advice out there. Go to the fundamentals and build a solid relationship with your colleagues.